Alright, I'm in my car. Just got off work, driving home, and I'm just trying to figure out what direction I have with this car build. When I did my Nova, it was kind of, it was simple. I got the car, it didn't have an engine. I was talking to a buddy, he was like, get a big block. I found a big block, built it, put it in, whatever, and then I was like, I want to do something else now. And then everybody was talking about these LSs. So now, the 65 I got, the Cutlass, I'm doing the LS thing. I'm knee deep in it. Next thing I heard was like, oh man, you got to put a turbo on it. So I grabbed, a turbo system from Huron, not knowing about fitment and things like that, not knowing anything. I'm still learning. Didn't fit. So the passenger side manifold, I sent it back and exchanged it for a different style. I went from a T4 to a T6. I'm like, maybe that'll work. And then I ended up getting a T6 turbo to complement it. I didn't account for any of the other fitment. I didn't account for the crossover pipe. I didn't account for the driver's side manifold. Nothing fit. So I end up pulling it all off and saying, hey, I need to do something else. So I didn't know what to do. I end up looking and finding the Holley system. And once I got the Holley system, I tried the driver's side. Fits perfectly. Then I tried the passenger side. I had to grind off a little bit of my engine mount and a little bit of the bottom of the log. Just a tad bit. And everything fit perfectly. Problem I had was I had to fab up some type of mount for the turbo. I'm not a welder, and the hardest thing for me to do is find work or find someone to do work for me, because I don't understand the pricing and the charging. It might be reasonable, but for me, I just don't understand people doing work for me and charging what they charge. Maybe it's being in California, maybe because I possess so many other different skills that, and I don't charge anybody for anything. Any help I give somebody. So I don't know. It just don't make sense to me. So I go out and try to fab up my own turbo mount. Doesn't work. It's horrible. It's hideous. So now I'm like, do I even want a turbo anymore? So I came up with the idea, maybe I just need a bigger motor, and I'll go from there. I've already, everybody talk about the 6.0, so I'm like, get a 6.0. Didn't find any blocks out here, so what I had to do was start finding people that were selling 6.0 parts, and then I'll send them messages. Hey, do you have a 6.0 block? Like, where do you get these parts off of? And I did actually get a few people hit me back, like, yeah, I got a block. And I did end up eventually picking up a block, which you saw in my other video. I picked up a short block. Took it apart. All the bearings are toast. It ran low on oil or whatever the case was. It was horrible. So I have the block and I have the pistons. The crank is trash. So now I'm sitting here trying to figure out, what do I do? What is my next step? And people always ask, what's your power goals? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what my power goals are. I know I want a very torquey car. I want a car that's fun on the street, torque, can, move, it can wiggle. The 65 Cutlass, it's a bigger car. It's bigger than the Chevelle. It's longer than the Chevelle by 7 inches. So it's a big car. You don't want to have a big car like that and not be able to move. So I have experience with the Nova having a big block in it, 454. So that's a little bit of the background I have as far as power. So what do these LS do? I've honestly never drove a LS or a car that was LS swapped, so I'm not really sure what the power feels like. I know that on paper the LS doesn't make the same torque as the big block in stock form, or even slightly modified. So how do I gain that torque? And that's where I've been at right now. I pulled the turbo stuff off. It's for sale. I'm trying to get rid of the shit. But honestly, if I did hook up with somebody that could fab up something for me using the Holly system, I probably would keep it because I already have it. If I won't take any more L's. I've been taking a lot of L's. Other than that, where I sit now is building a 6.0 block, buying a new crank that's balanced and everything and come with bearings and putting it all back together, trying to get it started. Either trying to put the turbo back on there and make it work, or I'm thinking about putting a supercharger on it. The perks of the supercharger for me would be that I can actually have a real exhaust, which is great for me. Then the other option I've been looking at as well, which was my original plan when it came to LS, is actually build a stroker. I'm looking maybe at a 408. It gives you the torque. Not so much up top. It can be there, but I wouldn't be concerned with making a power up top. I would just be concerned with that monster torque that just shred tires and just get loose from the bottom, because that's where you drive at. That's where I drive at, on the streets and just having fun. 408 does sound good. Now I'm trying to compare price with performance, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to figure that out. 408 looks pretty good when it comes to performance. Don't have to worry about no boost or any weird add-ons or things like that. And then with the boost or the supercharger, in this case, the one I'm looking at is the Torque Storm. I'll probably be about $4,000 into that to get that to slap on top of the 6.0. After I get the 6.0 built, which not gonna cost me anything. It's gonna be a few bucks here and there. So I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. Figuring out which direction do I go. Do I build a 408? The shop told me, local shop, they'll bore it out for $400. Then I have to get a stroker kit. That's probably going to be from $2,000 to $3,000. Plus all the things I'm going to need to put the engine back together and capitalize on this bigger displacement. Versus building a 6.0, probably throw $1,000 at it just to put the bottom end together. Crank, water pump, oil pump, gaskets. I already have oil pan, but probably get another oil pan. I already have the intake. I already have heads. And then later get the Pro Charger or Supercharger set up. So that's where I'm at right now. Third option, which is my last, is going back and using a turbo setup, but that is dependent on me finding someone, someone that actually does solid work, for a decent price. I'm not trying to get it for free, but the stuff people charge just so that's where I'm at. Something gotta shake. Eventually something gotta shake. But